Good afternoon, everyone. It is Sunday, August the 11th, 2019. It is currently 2:40 p.m. Central Time, and this is a live broadcast for the VBC 66 app, and this is being recorded for the Socratic Circle podcast. Now, I know it's been a little while. On the Socratic Circle podcast, we've been looking at Can You Trust Yourself? I have done 3 messages on Can You Trust Yourself? We have a number of, 4 more to do, 5 more to do dealing with that subject. But this afternoon, I was reading the news. I came across a news article and I thought, you know what? I want to talk about this. And I didn't know which podcast to do this for. There's so many podcasts, but someone was asking me about the Socratic Circle podcast today. So I thought, I do need to record something for the Socratic Circle podcast. So I have decided today on this Sunday afternoon, August the 11th, to go live and do a live Socratic Circle podcast episode, a live one. And we've never done a live Socratic Circle podcast episode. So let's do a couple of things. First and foremost, those who are tuning into the live broadcast, please understand the live broadcasts are primarily designed for the users of the VBC 66 app or those using the Spreaker app and following us. You can do that, one or two ways. The VBC 66 app is absolutely free. Apple App Store, Google Play. Do a search for VBC, which stands for Victory Baptist Church. 66 stands for the number of books in the Bible. VBC 66. Download the app. It's absolutely free. And then you have access to everything. The Socratic Circle, church history, news, everything that we have available there. And you can do that. If you get the Spreaker app, that's Spreaker, not speaker, Spreaker, you can look for us there, the Socratic Circle, VBC, Hermeneutics. We have pretty much all of our podcasts are available through the Spreaker app as well. And through the Spreaker app, I believe you can also listen to our live broadcast. So a number of ways to keep up with it. But these podcasts were primarily designed for the people using the VBC 66 app. And the way the live broadcast came about was I thought, we have a lot of people using our app. It'd be cool to just be able to say, hey, send out a push notification to everyone. Hey, we're going live. And it's just in a very informal way. Go live and talk in a more conversational kind of way. Not highly produced like a podcast typically would be. Even my podcast, I really kind of go for a more conversational way and not really a highly produced type of podcast. I've done the more highly produced types of podcasts in the past. There's benefits to that, but I don't want to get into the whole philosophy behind that. But the Socratic Circle podcast is primarily designed, if you're not aware, to handle things from a more philosophical point of view. All right, and still, even when I handle it from a more philosophical point of view, obviously theology will be involved as well. But that's a whole. You could argue theology. At one point in time in history, the two great, areas of study were theology and philosophy. All right, so, I wish we would get back to that in some ways. At least philosophy and logic and critical thinking skills and okay. Speaking of that, yes. See now transition. I was setting up a transition. Speaking of critical thinking skills, I just saw a news article. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. Are you ready for this? Here we go. Now, I am holding the iPad in my hand, and I'm using the same iPad to access information, so you're going to hear this sound. That's me clicking the home button. All right, here we go. Here is the story. It comes to us from space.com. I don't know when it was published. I don't have a date here, but they are speaking of something that is supposed to happen today. Now, I don't know if it's already happened today or if it's going to happen later this evening, but here is the story. So if I'm using future tense when it's actually past tense, I apologize for that, but that's not really the point here. The point here is there's kind of a philosophical idea I want to jump on here. Here's the story. Again, comes to us from space.com. I saw the article about a few minutes ago. Actually, this article was published 2 days ago. So I'm way behind. I apologize. But they are going to speak about something that's happening today. I just don't know the time of this event. But here it is. Headline: Mad Flat Earther to launch himself 5,000 feet up on a homemade steam rocket Sunday. Mad Flat Earther to launch himself 5,000 feet up on a homemade steam rocket Sunday. Now, there's a lot in that headline, all right? Now, mad is in quotations. So mad Flat Earther, I don't know if that's, he refers to himself that way, or if that's the news people referring to that say that way, but he is a flat earther. Now, what do we mean by a flat earther? A flat earther is someone who believes the earth, it is flat. It is not the way we understand it when we look at that globe. Okay, it's not round, it's flat. And I can't give you a percentage like large or small, but there are people in 2019. Yes, I know we have images from space, from satellites that show us the Earth and clearly show that it's not flat. In spite of all of that, in spite of, what we could talk about, a lot of things that would prove that the Earth is not flat. However, there are individuals who believe the Earth is flat and that there is a grand conspiracy to manipulate everyone into thinking that the Earth is not flat and that it's all, a part of some grand conspiracy. There is even a flat Earth conference that happens, I think, at least once a year, where people from around the world and so-called experts come to speak to tell everyone, hey guys, you're all wrong. The Earth is actually flat. So this flat earther, all right, in this news article, well, he's got a plan today. He's going to launch himself 5,000 feet up into the air on a homemade steam rocket. All right. That's what caught my attention. That's what caught my attention. Why would he want to launch himself 5,000 feet up in the air on a homemade rocket? Why take that kind of risk? Why take that kind of chance? What is he hoping to accomplish? Well, let's read a little bit from the article. It seems that there's been some conflicting information about his motivation, but I think we can learn something about this even if his motivation is not as it was first reported. You'll see what I mean by this in a minute. Mad Mike Hughes. So I'm assuming Mad has to be like a nickname he uses for himself. Mad Mike Hughes, a flat earther, rocket builder, and daredevil who previously launched himself 1,875 feet into the air in a homemade rocket, will attempt to launch himself again to a much higher altitude this Sunday, August the 11th, 2019. The attempt will be filmed by the Science Channel for the upcoming new series, Homemade Astronauts. In March 2018, after a few failed attempts, Hughes successfully launched aboard his rocket and survived the trip, landing via parachute. The 62-year-old Hughes walked away with some soreness and a compressed vertebrae, he told Space.com. In the upcoming launch attempt, Hughes will aim for an even greater height, 5,000 feet. All right, they give you some more information here. I'm not going to go through all of that.